Okay, welcome back. This week we're going to talk about creating a compelling vision for your future. But before we go there, I want to say a few more words about truth that I failed to mention last week. Starting off, I talked about the truth will set you free, but my coach, Michelle Humphrey, also adds, but first, it will stir up your stuff to heal your limitations. So think about that as you're being presented with ideas. And if you're getting stirred up, if you're getting challenged, it's because you got something to heal around that, whatever that is. Secondly, we talked about resonance, and truth should resonate with you. And another way of saying that is, if it doesn't feel good, it's not truth. So there should be no doubt, no anxiety, no fears about what you're hearing and how it's hitting you. It may stir up your stuff, but it should still feel good. And finally, I say truth is like a sphere. And what I mean by that is the whole of truth you can't see all at once. So you got to move around it a little bit to see every angle of it. So your perspective is different from the guy standing to your left or your right or above you or behind the sphere. And so move around the sphere so that you can take in the entirety of what it is. Okay, we're going to go back to talking about vision. And a couple weeks ago, I presented you with a manifesting model for becoming the best version of yourself. And if you remember, I said the model that I was taught most of my life is to get from here to there, you got to build a plan. And you got to get busy doing. And I called this the old force-based model because it requires a lot of strain and effort and not a lot of fun sometimes. So how can we make it more fun? Let's talk about the new model that I'm presenting here that we're going to go over in the coming weeks and months. We spend a lot of time on this. So this is a power-based model, and it has 7 components. And if you recall, the first one was building a gratitude foundation. And I said, hey, get out of bed every morning, take some notes, write down what you're grateful for that day. It just sets the tone for the day and allows you to have a lot more fun along the way. The second thing in the model is to acknowledge source, whatever that is for you, whether it's Yahweh or God or Krishna, whatever your higher power is, acknowledge that because that is the source from which everything comes. And then I said there are 5 more components, and we're going to get into one of those today. And it has to do with vision. And if you remember a couple weeks ago, I said your mission for the week was to write down what you want to be, do, have, and feel in your lifetime. And so that's the first thing I'm going to reveal of the 5 elements that I haven't uncovered yet. So the third element of this model is create clarity of vision. So we got build a gratitude foundation, acknowledge the source, and then create clarity of vision. What does that mean? Well, before you can set goals, which everybody tends to focus on setting goals, but you need a compelling vision. And what's your why? I'm going to include a link in the blog notes from Simon Sinek's TED Talk of how great leaders inspire action. And in a nutshell, what he says is, if you're not clear on your why, you're not going to have a compelling vision. And all great organizations and leaders that really inspire people have a compelling why. So what's your why? What are you passionate about? What lights you up? What expands you? What are you here to do? What do you feel called into this life to contribute? It's important that you get in touch with that. Because if you have clarity of vision, you can have a great life. And you only create in life that which is clearly envisioned. And how you clearly envision is through your thinking. And your thoughts create your reality. You've probably heard that before. So if you look around yourself and you're not happy with what you see, then the first thing you need to do is look at how you're thinking. Because I guarantee you that whatever you've been thinking is what you've created. And if you really get honest with yourself, do this little exercise. Think about where you are and think about 5-10 years ago what you were thinking about, and did you indeed create what you're thinking about? I think you'll find more often than not that you've created exactly what you've been thinking about. So if you want to create something different, then start thinking differently. And we're going to start with the end in mind, because that's always the best place to start. And instead of doing what some people suggest as to write down your eulogy, what do you want people to say about your funeral? That doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me. So we're going to talk about having a life celebration party at whatever age you want to have it. 90, 100, 110, whatever you think. And you're going to invite a bunch of people, and what are they going to say? You're going to hand them the mic, and they're going to say, you were X, and you showed up like this, and you had these kinds of relationships, etc., etc. We'll go through a few categories here in a second. So what do you want people to say at this party about you? The first area we're going to look at is, how are you being? How are you showing up in mind, body, and spirit and emotion? Are you thoughtful? Are you honest, fair, attentive, nurturing, joyful, creative, peaceful, spiritual, humble, innovative, intuitive, sensitive? How are you being? Your being, more than anything else, is what rubs off on people around you. So it's important that you tune in to how you're being. And what is your relationship with time? How do you feel about time? Time is your most precious resource. What are you learning? How are you expanding your mind? Are you exercising? How's your body doing? And what is your reputation? What do people say? Secondly, let's look at relationships. Not only in your immediate family and your significant other, but your extended family and your community and your country and the world. What are all the relationships that you have? And what are you doing to nurture and grow those relationships in really healthy ways? Third, what is your vocation? What do you do to create income? And income really is just in exchange for value that you're bringing to the world. So you bring in enough value to the world. If you don't like your income, then look at the value that you're bringing to the world and think about, how can I bring more value? How can I contribute more so that I can receive more? Fourth, what is your avocation? You got to have fun. So for me, it's all about sailing. And when I have time, I like to go sailing. What do you like to do? How do you like to relax and enjoy life and all the great things that you've been blessed with? Fifth, what's going on with your finances? Are your finances where you want them to be? Where do you want them to be in your vision at your life celebration party? What kind of fortune do you want to amass so that you can give it away when it's your time to leave? Sixth, what is your lifestyle? Where's your home? How are you getting around? What do you do for recreation? What do you do for travel? Where have you been? Have you created the optimal environment for your life? And finally, what's your contribution? How many people's lives are you going to impact in your lifetime? What is it that you're going to do for them? And that really ties back to your why. Next question I get is, well, what kind of time frame should I look at? Well, I said your life celebration party, and everybody's at a different stage in life. So if you can think out 100 years, great. To when you're 100 years old, great, and create that vision. But if that's too far out, think about a 20-year time horizon and then break it down. What do I need to do 3 years from now, 6 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, so that in 20 years, I create this 20-year vision? And keep in mind, you're going to be tweaking and updating and revising your vision as time moves forward. So I think 20 years is a great kind of working time frame for most people. And I'm going to include a template that I created to document your vision that you can use. So I hope this has been a good session for you. Dig into some of the questions that are in the blog notes here. Download the template. Start documenting your vision, because we can't start working on goals for 2018 until you're really clear about where you're going. So have fun with that, and we'll see you back here next week. Bye-bye.